Hello, everybody. Check this out. We are having an amazing fall season in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So beautiful, such a blessing. I hope if you're around here, you're enjoying it. Hope wherever you are, you're having a great fall season. Appreciate you joining me. I'm Tim Selby from Heart of Steamboat and doing a series on I'm a Christian and today I want to talk about I'm a Christian and I use four-letter words. It's a famous story about the well-known pastor, author Tony Campolo, who comes before, he's a Baptist minister, and he comes before a congregation one evening, and he says to them, crowded place full of people, says, last night in our world, over 30,000 children died of hunger and malnutrition, and you don't give a shit. And then he said, and you know what's worse? What's worse is right now, you're more upset that I just said shit in church than you are about the idea that 30,000 children in our world died of hunger and malnutrition. And it got really quiet in that congregation as the people had to reflect upon how we sometimes might let trivial things get in the way of what really matters and get distracted by small things and miss the big things like the suffering and the hardship and what people experience in this world that we live in. I get really like annoyed. Annoyed might be too strong of a word. I just kind of roll my eyes when people say this to me, and this happens a lot because I'm a pastor. It might happen to you as a Christian person as well. But someone will say a four-letter word, and then they'll look over at me and be like, "Oh, sorry, Tim. I'm sorry." As if, like, I don't know what, as if I can't handle it. Like I'm gonna be shocked. I'm gonna be appalled. What I'm gonna write it down in a book somewhere that they said this word. Like I'm clutching my pearls. Like I don't actually have pearls, but if I did, would I be clutching them because they said a four-letter word? Oh my gosh, who could possibly do such a thing? A few weeks ago at our church, we had a performance, a little bit of commentary, poetry with reflection on fear and grief. Really wonderful, beautiful performance. It was supposed to be at a different venue. Some things didn't work out. We ended up saying, well, we can have it here at the church. And they said to me, well, I don't know, like we probably can't have it at the church. I'm like, why not? And they said, because, well, we use some four-letter words. And I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world are we talking about? That you can't say a four-letter word in a church. You have to take it somewhere else because I don't know, the people can't handle it. The walls will fall down, like the place will burn up. I don't know what would what would happen. I said, no, we're fine, and they did this performance and they used some four-letter words in the context of talking about our fears and the suffering we have in our lives and death and grief and all of it, these deep human emotions. And when they use those four-letter words, they weren't being crass or even lazy comedians. They were really speaking about the deep human emotions that we feel, and I think often are properly expressed in that way. I think, and it was a beautiful performance. I use four-letter words. I think that's fine. I don't try to speak crass or use them all the time or that kind of thing. But in the course of my life, when I'm expressing something, sometimes I think that's probably the best way to express what's inside of me. And that's okay. I think growing up, many of us were taught, that you shouldn't use four-letter words, right? um, we were taught about the scriptures, like what the scriptures call the sins of the tongue, right? The sins of the tongue were reduced to simply, hey, don't use four-letter words. Or as one little girl wrote, and I have this book, Letters to God, it's by little kids, and she said, Dear God, is it true that my father can't get into heaven if he uses his bowling words in the house? Isn't that great? And signed by this little girl. Her name's Anita. Dear God, is it true that my father can't get into heaven if he uses his bowling words in the house? And my answer to Anita is no. Anita, your father is just fine. Don't worry about it. But see, that's kind of how we trivialize this thing about our speech. The scripture says some really important things about how we talk and what that does. And if we trivialize it just to using bowling words, whatever bowling words might be. We make it much less important than it is. In the letter of James in the New Testament, the writer there says this. He says, the tongue is a fire. We bless the Lord with our tongue. We bless the Lord and curse those who are made in God's likeness. Wow, that's a deep scripture. And that, like, the tongue is a fire. Fire can warm, it can cook, it can nurture, it can keep alive, but fire can also destroy and burn. And we can do that with our words, can't we? We can use our words to bless and build up, or we can use our words to tear down, to destroy, to harm, to hurt. And it talks about when you say negative things about somebody, you're saying something negative. You're cursing someone who was made in the image and the likeness of God. In the letter of Paul to the Ephesians, he says this. He says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is useful for the building up of others. Don't let unwholesome things come out of your mouth, but what is good for the building up of others. That's not talking about your bowling words, right? That's talking about don't speak in negative ways, but speak in ways that build people up. Do you, with your language and your talk and the way you go about yourself in the world, do you tear down people around you, tear down others, bring negativity into the world in that way? Paul's saying don't do that because the power we have to be destructive with our words is so great and is such a powerful thing. And Jesus, in the Gospel of Matthew, says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Like we speak in a way that shows what's in our heart. And if we have goodness and grace and compassion in our heart, hopefully that will flow out of us and come into the world and bless the world with the speech that we have. It's not trivial. This is really important stuff the scripture talks about because our words have such great power to harm or also to bless. Good Christian people, like fine, upstanding Christian people, right, can avoid four-letter words all they want and seem to speak in proper ways, all the while gossiping about those people over there, or talking negatively about those people at that other church, or this group of people, or those people, or that one guy. They can be speaking hard words, critical words, gossiping, putting people down, hurting people. And their avoidance of four-letter words completely misses the point. That's not what these instructions of speech are all about. You know the phrase, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. You know this one. We were all taught this growing up. You know what? That is a lie, right? That is a lie. I can think in my life, nobody has ever hurt me with sticks and stones. And this is probably true of you as well. Nobody's ever hurt me with sticks and stones, but people with words, oh yeah. I've been hurt by words. I know that you've been hurt by words too. It's the most hurtful thing that we have in our lives quite often. The power of it is amazing. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That is so not true. So let us be thinking about how we speak about those around us and how we talk to those who are closest to us, because most of the time this happens in our families, in our homes, in our workplace, in our churches. We don't get much beyond that, right? So it's how do we speak to and about those who we go about this life with, and hopefully it's in a beautiful way, because this is where I want to turn now to the ways that we can bless with our words, and this is so great. Think about people saying these phrases to one another, or people who have said these kind of phrases to you. I believe in you. You can do it. You are enough. I got you. You'll find your way. You messed up? Oh, join the club. I got you. You'll find your way. You're awesome. How about I end with this one? I love you. Those kind of words can bless and build up in such powerful ways. And you know what? And it's so easy to say. They're so easy to share with those around us. I want to do it more. I was thinking this week and talking to people. I want to say these kind of things to people more. I want to say encouraging words more often. I want to say words that bless more often, words that build people up more often. I'm just going to build that, try and build that into my speech, into my patterns, into my habits. And I invite you to make part of your habit of speaking as well. I mean, think about somebody in your life who has spoke this way to you. Maybe it's a parent or a teacher or a coach or a pastor, a friend, a neighbor, colleague at work. Think about those who have spoken this way to you. And you know how that makes you feel? The beauty of that, the goodness of that, and the way you feel connected and the way you have a warm sentiment for this person and it makes you feel stronger and better inside. Such a powerful thing. And guess what? You and I, we have the power to be those kind of people to those around us. And we can do it. We can do it every day and we can start doing it now. I hope we've been doing it, but we can commit ourselves to doing it even more. We can lift people up and bless people. In a world that so often tears us down in so many ways, let's be the kind of people who build people up. May we know the power of our words. And where there is despair, may we speak life. Where there is fear, may we speak courage. Where there is failure, may we speak words of grace. May our words echo the voice of God that is life giving, always calling us loved and beloved, always offering us grace, always filling us with life. Let our words, like the voice of God and the voice we see in the nature all around us right now, may our words bring beauty and life to the world. May they bless people. So may you be blessed this day with peace and love and goodness in your life. You are enough. You are loved. You are filled with the grace of God. I hope you believe that. I hope you know it. And I hope we go around making sure everybody hears those kind of words in their life. Enjoy this beautiful season.